Why do we care about any of this at all? This thing right here is why it matters. This is the number one part on any compact tractor that is prone to failure on the chassis. I don't mean small little pieces here and there, but as major chassis components, the number one part that fails across the board, across all brands, is front axles. That's why we care. We're back out with the scales. This time we have it set up a little bit differently. Now we have a live display. Or maybe over here, it depends on where I am in the camera. I won't know till later. But we have a live display. As things are happening, we can see the numbers changing right in front of us. Example. The live display was not recording. 1 second. Take 2. For example, okay, those numbers will change. So right now the forks are just sitting down here. I don't know if you can see it. The forks are just sitting in this pallet, and we've got 6 bags on here. There's nothing on the back at the moment, but we're gonna answer some of the questions that we got in our last video. If you haven't watched our first ballast video, that would be a good place to start before watching this one. I'm gonna link it right here. The first one is, I know several people who take the front end and boom it all the way up in the air while using a disc harrow, claiming it helps put more down pressure on the disc so they can cut deeper into the soil. Is there any truth to this? We don't need to test anything. The answer is no. 3-point hitches do not have down pressure. So even if, theoretical if, even if when you put this loader all the way up, it was putting more weight on the back of the tractor, it's not going to push down anymore on the equipment. Question number 2. This is more of a comment. I'd love to see how the ballast is affected with the attachment raised versus lowered. And I think he meant like how the front axle load was affected when the attachment is raised versus lowered. Maybe he meant back here with this being raised versus lowered, but we're gonna check both. So we'll test it at the bottom, we'll test it at the top. As it comes up, you'll be able to see any change that happens in the numbers. You'll see that live. The front, we're gonna take that and we'll lift it all the way up in the air. And again, you'll be able to watch the number and see if that's live. So to start with, this tractor, I can see the display as well, so I can talk about the numbers as we're doing this test. And then it's being recorded, so I can put it right here, or right here on screen. To start with, the tractor sitting at 69% on the front and 30-ish% on the rear. Similar to how it was set up last time. Well, it should be because it's the same tractor. I'll start the tractor and we'll lift this up and we'll take a look at these numbers. Okay, so with no operator, we are now 84% front and 15% rear. So we'll take this and we'll lift it all the way up in the air, and then we will see how that affects the tractor. If I remember right, it was about 85 and 15. We're now sitting at 82 and 17. So we did put a little bit of weight back towards the back of the machine. Very, very minimal. But what this really did is to take our center of gravity point from right about here and bring it up to here. Which means if this tractor is on a roll or off angle at any point, and you have a hole in your field as you're trying to disc, with the example from earlier with it, theoretically putting more down pressure back here. But it's worse than that because it raises your center of gravity, so this tractor doesn't need to turn near as much in order to tip over. If I push on this, I can't see the numbers, but you can. You can see the left, right percentage there. I guess I can look from here. So me just pushing on that almost goes from a 50-50 to a 60-40. And that's just me shoving right here, let alone any potential forces up here that I can't reach. But the back of this tractor tipping at an angle, this is extremely dangerous. Yes, I know there's some weight up here. That's gonna make a difference when we're pushing sideways on it. But regardless, if you know someone that does this, show them this video because it's dangerous and they shouldn't. So we'll bring this back down. And one other question I got Wouldn't the front axle change if the same weight was overhanging off the back further than if it changed as the rear axle is the pivot point and vice versa on the front? So I believe what he's asking is, how does the distance the weight is away from the machine affect the distribution of the tractor? So let's bring this down. We'll move some of these concrete bags, and as I move them further and further away from the machine, you'll see those numbers change. I'm gonna set this at about a working height. I'll come to the back side over here so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just taking these 3 bags and we're gonna put them up here. Can't quite reach that one. So you can see the numbers. We're now up to almost 90%. So we're at 88% on the front axle. So we gained 3% more of our distribution by moving those bags forward a couple feet. So you might be asking, what is the percentage here we should be shooting for? Well, I have an answer for you, and I would like to tell you how I got that answer. So a couple days ago, I came in and was just getting going for the day in my office, and I got a phone call from John. We'll call him John. And it says, hi Jake, this is John from Kubota Tractor. Do you have a minute? And generally when an OEM calls you out of the blue, as a tractor accessory manufacturer, you have no idea what this is about, right? So he goes to say, I'm not necessarily calling from Kubota, but I work for Kubota. And I just watched your video on the Ballast distribution that you put up on YouTube, and I really liked it. I think I have some input for you that will help you understand this going forward to make some future videos. He goes, I was super involved in getting this particular model tractor rolled out and building all of the dealership material for this tractor, including all of the recommended ballast values and ballast types. Like, cool, this is a great guy to have, calling me. So I learned a lot from my conversation with him, and he gave me some documentation, and I will show it on screen here. And per that documentation, the minimum load you should have on your rear tires when using a front loader on a tractor is 25%. Now, we don't have very much weight on this tractor. We have nothing on the back. We don't have loaded tires. But we have 6 60-pound bags, and they're not that far away from the tractor. And we're already sitting at 88%. So how much weight do you need back here in order to even reach your standard operating capacity of your tractor? And that is what we're gonna find out right now. I'm gonna lay those back out, but I'm not gonna add any more weight to the front of that until we put a weight back here, and then we'll bring this up to its operating capacity, and then we'll continue to add weight just so we maintain that we're safe. We're probably gonna do this a little bit on both sides. I don't need to be tipping this tractor over today. Now, as I'm doing this, watch the weight. How is that weight changing? So I'm gonna start with putting an equal amount on the front as the back. Now that I have an equal amount of weight on the front and the back, I'm gonna put some more weight on the front of the machine. Interesting. So we're at 25%. Right now, with an equal load front and back, we're at 25%. I wonder if that will continue as we go up. No. I told you that I was going to bring this tractor up to full operating capacity, and I think I lied to you. I don't have enough concrete bags, I don't think. We're going to go further. Right now we're sitting at 15 bags on the front, around 900-ish pounds. We have 6 bags in the back, around 360 to 400 pounds. And we're at 90% front and 10% rear. So we need to get some more weight back here to get to that 25% number. We're gonna have to stop here, but I think it's okay. Looking at our numbers, an equal amount of weight on the front and the back on this tractor is giving you a 25% to 75%. That's going to stay the same. So if you would like to lift your maximum weight capacity on the front of your 2502, you need the same amount on the back of your tractor. Now we had the question of, does where the ballast sit change anything? So let's find out now. We'll take and we'll lower this all the way down, and when we pick it all the way up, we'll compare our two numbers. Did you see that? Now I didn't see it because I didn't look, but I'm assuming of what happened. It doesn't make a huge difference whether it's at the top or whether it's at the bottom. The further down it is, the further your center of gravity is going to be lower. The higher it is, the center of gravity raises some. Not making a huge difference overall. The biggest difference is, one, how far away it is from the machine. The further away it is, the more of effect it's going to have. The same on the front. If your load is nice and close to you, you can lift more. If your load is way away from you, you're not gonna be able to lift near as much. What I did do though, was drop and raise the 3-point kind of repeatedly. Because these scales are watching, I was hoping that it was able to pick up some of the dynamic load of something like this, simulating kind of going across some bumps and it going up and down. While the weight doesn't change, the amount of force that's applied onto the tractor and onto the ground definitely changes. I hope it was able to pick it up. I hope you learned something in this video. If you haven't watched the first video, I would definitely go back and do that. And if there's something particular that you want me to show, put it in the comments of this video. Thanks. Have a great day.